Hi guys, and welcome back to a new episode of Tanoka 1. This week we are discussing the newest episode, 1121, called All in the Family, written by Buckleming. This episode has gotten a very flat response from fandom, especially on the heels of the fabulous Robbie Thompson's episode. In which case, I'm going to start this by saying I enjoyed quite a few things about the episode. There were a couple of really good bones. The episode that, had Buckleming gnawed on them for longer and expanded upon them, they could have had some really good scenes. I actually have a list of points that I'm going to go over as far as issues I had with, not necessarily, okay, I don't want you to take this as this is going to be a rant video. It's not. This is more like something I think an editor should have gone over with them as far as the episode is pointing out, okay, these things are problematic, or questioning, why did you do this? Okay, you say this here, but then later on you did this, and they contradict each other, so I need you to either clarify that one of these things was untrue or red herring and that this is the truth, or fix it so that they agree. These kinds of things. First one was Chuck's personality change as well as Metatron's from the last episode. Complete 180. In which case, one of the problems with Supernatural as a whole, they're not communicating. A lot of the writers, and which case this is a problem in previous seasons, is the fact that we feel like we have whiplash from episode to episode. Because it's like the writers don't communicate with each other. As far as, okay, yes, you're writing this, but here's where I was in the last episode, so you need to do your story, but build off of what I've already put down. A TV show and writing as a team or any team project is literally like building a house. You have the architect who's the starting point. Then you have the construction crew who comes in and lays down the foundation and puts up the support beams. And then you have, the roofers who come in and put in the roof. Then you have the other contractors that come in and put in the electrical work. And you have the ones that put in the sheetrock and the walls and the company that comes in and puts in the windows. I mean, you have all these different contractors who have to work together going off of the exact same plans, and if one of them deviates from that, it messes up everybody else. And it just compiles and gets worse. And so it's causing issues. Like I said, Metatron went back to being his obnoxious self. God, who was defensive and angry and, for Lucifer, and gets pissed off when Metatron insults him and like bows up like, what'd you just say? Like comes at the Winchesters when Dean literally tries to emotionally manipulate God using Lucifer so that God would go save Lucifer and therefore go save Cass. Dean thinks he's dealing a trump card and God about bites his head off for it. And it's just like, whoa, hold on. That's a complete change in not even like you were several seasons ago. Like new writers, completely different seasons, several years have passed. Okay, you're willing to be a little lenient as far as, okay, that's out of character. That's you just broke canon. There's a continuity error with this, but we're literally talking about last week. So that's kind of a problem. And another thing that I see this happen in books, and I see this happen on TV, and literally she and other authors will try oftentimes to make people who are Christian look like they're just completely psychotic and that they are just idiotic, mindless worshippers of a false creation that's just, and they're literally mocking people for their faith. Because they don't get it, they don't understand it, they're not even trying to understand it, they much less respect it. They're like, okay, you do your own decisions. In Buckleming, basically the episode, the way this came across, the way Chuck acts the entire episode, the writers are belittling him as a character. That he's not to be relied on, he's not to be seen as wise and caring and stuff like that, he's a joke. It's not so much that it's undermining his character, is they're trying to undermine the reality or the belief of God outside of supernatural. And then another thing is it doesn't actually reflect on the character. It doesn't actually even really reflect on the show. It reflects on the writers. Like, okay, yeah, you made this happen. This doesn't make him look bad. It screams, your issues are showing. You as the writer have issues, and they're showing. You need to stop. If you have an issue with God, you can still write it well, you know? I mean, literally, you have so much material as far as in canon for the show to work with that basically God has stepped back, and he's, in a lot of ways, you can point out that he's failed humanity, you know, if that's how you feel. Rather than taking what you have to work with, you just try to mock him instead. That's bad writing. And then the thing, also with Kevin. Spoilers. I'm assuming everybody has seen the episode, so like I care nothing if you haven't seen it and you're spoiled. I didn't get it. But you, like, I figured the angels had already taken care of all the people that got, like, locked out of heaven when Metatron forced the gates closed and the angels out of heaven. I figured as soon as they, you know, got the door open, that they got that taken care of. I mean, because we know Reapers were still in action. They were just literally stuck because the doors were shut. You know, so I figured this has already been cleaned up and taken care of. You know, it's literally like, okay, we just had to wait for traffic to clear up. And, you know, and maybe it was slow going at a while, but then they finally got the car accident, you know, cleaned up and out of the way so that traffic got moving smoothly again. You know, we just had like a backup and a car pileup. I forget that's already been taken care of, you know, because angels are running heaven again. The Reapers are still in business even though death is gone. There's literally no reason to have believed Kevin was still on Earth, stuck in the veil. You know, and if God was miraculously going to randomly have somebody pop up, Charlie's an option. Totally an option. Like, as much as I like Kevin, I do. Charlie. In which case, not even to show up and, hi, trust Chuck. There was a million other ways they could have done that. Again, but have Kevin show up for 2 seconds to reiterate the fact that, you know, hey, not stuck in the veil anymore. It just, you could have brought Charlie back. So could have brought Charlie back. Fixed that huge, massive mistake that Supernatural made. Everything you do in writing should serve a purpose. If it doesn't, get rid of it. Or work around it. Or alter it in some way so that it serves the bigger purpose. Just because you... That's where the phrase, kill your darlings, comes from. You may like something and think it's a fabulous, great, wonderful scene. But if it doesn't actually add anything to the story or to the character development, you need to get rid of it. I don't care how much you like it. Another point... Buckleming, I swear to God, every episode there is a no homo moment that they do. Especially if Dean is worried about Cass. He catcalls some woman when Cass is under the guard dog spell. There's porn mentioned, I think in one of the other episodes that they did, like this past season or something like that. Yeah, they always do it. And again, they did it this episode about where God's watching Dean's computer and apparently goes through his porn. And he's like, I've never seen so much porn in my life. Not in one sitting. But again, with the no homo thing. For 7 episodes, literally the only thing that's been on Dean's mind, all of them, is Cass. That Sam is the one dragging them out on hunts, and Sam is the one who keeps bringing up Amara, and all these different things, and Lucifer, or not Lucifer, but Dean's main concern is Cass. You know, and so then they're just like, oh yeah, he has porn of women on his computer. And I swear, like, one of the most ridiculous and absurd arguments for people wanting to argue that Dean's straight and he's not bisexual, because nobody in the fan base who ships Dean and Cass is saying that Dean is gay at all. Nobody. Not one of them. At all. Nobody is saying Dean is gay. They are saying Dean is bi. And they're like, but Dean likes women! Yeah? We know. That's kind of how bisexuality works. You like men and women. And then Sam. Like, okay, I get it. The scene was cute because Sam rambling because he's nervous. That's the thing he does. Like, seriously, it's adorable. But at the same time, it was also kind of out of character. I mean, because he meets God and he wants to know why the planet's around and what's the deal with human ears and, you know, and it's just like stupid, pointless questions. And I'm like, dude, you know an angel who's been around since before creation and is, you know, basically married to your brother. You know, if you wanted to ask about human ears or why the planets are round or why is the sky blue and the grass green, you could have asked an angel. I'm pretty sure he could have drawn you diagrams as well as he explained it. You know, it just like, oh yeah, from the beginning, let me explain. It's one of the writing things that I think a lot of people need to be reminded of. Kind of goes back to that whole thing about, okay, once you've stated something in a book or once you've created something, that's your laws of physics. You have to obey it, even if it's inconvenient later on. You're stuck with it. You know, you have to work within the confines you've created. I think it would be more likely for Sam to question God as far as a broad spectrum of ways that God has wronged humanity. Like, basically, Dean's speech, to me, seems more like something Sam would say. Whereas also in reaction to that, Dean would turn around and be more like, okay, here's a more microscopic list of grievances in the way that you have wronged us. It's the difference between talking about the fact that, you know, there's war in the Middle East and then having a child who is, you know, lost their arm because of a landmine or something like that and is half starved and dehydrated and dying of a very curable disease in, say, a first world country sat down in front of you. There's a big difference when faced with those realities. You know, being, okay, there's a war in the Middle East. Okay, boom, here. You know, like, look me in the face and tell me you don't want to get involved or that you can't do anything or that it's not your problem. You know, when looking at this. You know, it's basically all about scale and how you look at things. And so, well, I think Sam would be much more likely to talk about, like, you know, the wars and pollution and earthquakes and natural disasters and, you know, humanity and the planet as a whole. And the fact that, like, how can you let all this suffering just happen, you know, to us as a people? Dean's grievances would be more specific and more like, you know, their family and their friends. And the fact that, like, you know, my mom burned on a ceiling. And your kids are responsible because our family has been used as nothing but pawns. And Azazel made Sam as a baby one of his special children by feeding him demon blood, and then later made him eventually become, like, you know, a demon blood addict. And you know, why did I have to go to hell for 40 years and become the righteous man if, oh wait, Lucifer's out and walking about now with no issues? You know, we didn't have to re-break the seals. They didn't have to be any big cosmic war. He's just out. You know, easy as pie. You know, that we met you several times during the apocalypse, and you knew what we were going through. You knew what was at stake, and you did nothing. You know, you did nothing. You stood by as Castiel got exploded. You know, and oh wait, his molars were in your hair. And so I find it very, yes, okay, poignant scene, whatever, but it at the same time seemed very out of character, the way it was done. Like, okay, yes, confront God on issues. This is a good idea, but maybe we can make it better. Maybe we can make it more in character. Rather than basically having them react the way you think they ought to, or the way you want them to, or the way you would. Maybe have them actually react the way they would. Another big continuity error with the episode was the fact that Amara is shielded from Chuck, which makes no sense. It makes no sense that Amara's shielded from Chuck. Because one, there's no warding where Lucy is. Two, she wants to confront God, so why would she ward herself from him when she's trying to find him? And then three, she's torturing Lucifer and telling him cry out to God because she's trying to provoke him to get him to come confront her. So why would she ward herself against him? Another point is basically the Harry Potter prophet. He contributed all of nothing to the episode. My issue with the Harry Potter prophet is, one, an extra character we don't need this close to endgame for the season. Two, either the prophet wizard is a prophet activated solely by God to help keep up his lie about Amara being shielded from him. Lying to what end, I don't know. Or the prophet was activated because... no idea. Because once he's GPS'd them to Amara and Lucifer, he literally has no point. I mean, he literally is in the episode to be able to point them to where Lucifer and Amara are. When God could have done that. You know, he could have told them exactly where they were and then sent them after him if he's not, basically they, are just like, no, it's not time for you to confront her. Or if he refuses to confront her yet, about no, now's not the time. And then just basically when they're like, well, when will be the time? Trust me, when it is, I'll let you know. I've pointed you out. You want to go save her, go save her. Or go save him. They literally go, let's create a one-off character, vaguely explain why he's there, and then get rid of him once we're done with him. There was literally no need. Another scene that just because something is entertaining to watch, or interesting, doesn't necessarily mean it's not a problem. Because you have to think how it ties in with everything else. The scene where Amara has her hand splayed in front of Cass. What was that? Why? Is she needing Cass as a conduit to be able to project a message to Castiel, through Cass to Dean, using the bond of Cass and Dean? I mean, I thought she was using Cass to do that, but apparently not. Maybe? Because Dean's just like, no, she's in my head. Well, that's a first. We've had all season and she hasn't been in your head. And she wasn't able to do this until she touched Castiel. And she's basically using being the serious, jealous, psycho ex-girlfriend to use Castiel to provoke you to try and get God to confront her. That or either force your hand to make you basically, she's holding Castiel hostage to make you give in to what she wants. Which is actually what she asked for, is come meet me, please. I need to see you. I miss you. And he's just like, you crazy psycho bitch. Also, Dean's complete non-reaction when she does this, the first message, makes no sense whatsoever. Cass has been the main thing on his mind for episodes. Okay, not just a couple, but 7 episodes in a row. That's all he's been worried about is Castiel. That is driven him to, he's stopped sleeping. He's drinking ridiculous amounts again. He's stressed out. Sam is constantly having to get on to him about, dude, have you eaten? Have you slept? When was the last time you had water? Take a break. Let's get out of here, get some air. You can come back at it with fresh eyes. And we'll do everything we can, Dean. And so then Amara basically throws Castiel in his face and he just doesn't react. And I'm like... okay, Dean should have been flipping desks, throwing lamps, tearing apart books, flipping over the table. I mean, he should have reacted. Not because so much that she'd hit a button that strong, over the fact that his nerves and stuff were that stressed, that strained, that much agitated, and he was that pulled taunt that he finally just snapped. And, that just, again, out of character. Another one of those big no homo moments that Buckleming is very famous for. And when Lucifer is talking to Amara, but when he makes the comment about the fact that you may be stronger than God, you may be able to defeat God, but you'll never be God. It's a really great line. It is. It's interesting. And the fact that he is been tortured for days and weeks at this point, and he's still not backing down, and the sass doesn't stop, and it's like, yes, please go. But at the same time, It doesn't make sense. She's not trying to be God. She's not trying to take God's place, you know. So the line doesn't make any sense. She's not wanting to be the new God and rule over humanity. She's wanting to destroy everything, apparently, except for Dean. Oh, another thing. All the scene switches. Like, did y'all notice? Did anybody else notice? Because I noticed and it drove me up the wall. Just Dean is, let's see, starts off, they're in the town, then they're in the bunker, then they're in the police station, then they're in the bunker again, then they're in the bar, then they're in the park, then they're in the bunker again, then he's in the woods with Amara. And then they're in that, then I'm not sure where he is, because the boys, they're being rescued. And then you see him in the nice neighborhood putting Harry Potter Prophet in a cab. So, like, literally, it's like 9 different scene locations. I'm like, under no circumstances should ever, and it's, no, I'm trying to remember why Dean and Sam even went to the police station. Because they don't actually solve a case that episode. They met the Prophet, but that's about it. They didn't actually solve any case. The cops don't get any kind of, you know, conclusion or anything to the town. So again, major plot hole. And I really like the scene, the fact that Lucifer ends up getting rescued, one by Sam, but by Sam, Prophet Dude, and then Metatron. And apparently Lucifer can recognize the fact that the dude's Prophet from, like, first sight. I thought that was really interesting and was a very, had a lot of potential, mostly untapped. Because, I mean, do you ever think about the fact that, like, twice now Lucifer has had these moments where basically he's being shown unfailing loyalty and, you know, basically love, but it's not meant for him. It's meant for the person he's possessing. Yet he's sharing in that. And that's basically kind of what he wants more than anything, or what he wanted at one point more than anything. And that, like, back in season 5, he kept trying to appeal to Sam and get Sam to understand him and side with him and all these other things. And now he has Sam looking at him basically like kind of how he wanted him to before, except Sam's not actually seeing him. You know, to basically have this moment about, like, wait, are we working together? And Sam be like, no, this is a rescue mission. And, you know, and Lucifer's like, our lives are so weird. Because could you have ever imagined us here, you coming to my rescue? Regardless of the circumstances. You know, literally, Sam, unarmed, goes on a rescue mission to save Lucifer. That's weird. You never, ever could have told either of them that, like, back in season 4 or 5, and they'd have laughed in your face or thought you were batshit. And on top of that, when they are they're rescuing Lucifer, you have flashbacks to the scene, or switches over to the scene where Dean is basically stalling Amara so they can go save Lucifer and Cass, and you have where Amara, being crazy psycho ex-girlfriend, but the scene where she reaches out and touches Dean. And they don't clarify on this, so I'm not really sure what happened. But she was able to project her, basically, a message to Dean by touching Castiel. By touching Dean, did she somehow have a connection back to Castiel through their bond? And that's how she was able to realize, okay, I've been duped. You know, 3, why is she not more pissed off that Dean has tricked her? And then she talks about the fact that, you know, you've betrayed me. Y'all aren't together. He doesn't like you. He doesn't want anything to do with you. There's no betrayal going on. He's told you, leave me alone, go away. And you won't. That's like, you know? And again, back to the Prophet. With the bond, quote unquote, he apparently has with Amara. Why couldn't Dean find Amara? Like, if he wanted to, you know, or you know, somehow convey back to her, because she's keeping pretty close tabs, that I want to meet you, where are you? You know, and basically under any ruse about the fact that, okay, yes, I feel the pull that you have on me, but before I just give in, I want to understand you first. Explain to me. You know, try to make me understand, and maybe I'll stop fighting you, because we've never really had the opportunity to talk, and you try to explain yourself and what you're after and why, and, you know, what you actually plan to do aside from nothingness. You know, why should I give in to you? Why should I stop fighting you every step of the way? You know, that to me would have been a really good diversion, personally. You know, and oh, wait, it also would have had the bonus points of actually explaining Amara. Because so far, if y'all remember, we haven't really gotten any explanation as far as what she's after. Other than she wants a confrontation with God, and apparently now wants to destroy the world. But then she also wants to rebuild it using her own blueprints. I don't know, it keeps contradicting itself. Or being so very, very, very vague that there's actually no details at all. You know, and they had the opportunity to basically further explain Amara, and they didn't. And it bugs me. Because again, still, we have no proper motivation for what she's after. Not really. Just a very vague, general, you know, she's out to destroy everything. Why? You know, why is she evil? Okay, is she evil, or is she just extremely powerful? You know, is her destruction at this point because she is angry with God? You know, and basically sees everything that he's created is a slap in her face at her expense after she's been wronged and violated. You know, I'd be angry too. You know, was she like this before? Or does she resent and hate all of this because she's reminded of what was done to her? God, when he rescues them from Amara, after they rescue Lucifer, decides to drop the car in the dungeon rather than in the garage where it has its own parking space. Like, how does that make sense? How are they going to get the car back out of the garage or out of the dungeon? Literally, they can't. It's 4 walls and a door. It's not a garage. It's a dungeon. You know, that doesn't make any sense. There's also a garage in the bunker. And God's like, I did y'all some big favor. I do answer prayers. Yeah, but you put the car in the holding area. That doesn't make any sense. They can't get it out. Dean would literally have to dismantle the car piece at a time to carry it through the doorway and reassemble it in the garage. That makes no sense at all. You know, God's literally at this point gonna have to like snap his fingers and put it in a different room because he put it in the... What? Again, back to Amara being the psycho crazy ex-girlfriend. Something, again, okay, aside from they've not explained her motivations, they have not explained why she is so obsessed with Dean. At all. You know, why? And also, okay, why is she so obsessed with him, but also why does she think Dean would want to be with her? She's given him literally no reason to want anything to do with her. Like, again, why does she want to destroy everything? So many things not answered. We have 2 episodes left of the season. And we have no proper motivation or background on our villain. Basically demonizing women. And you know, women, power, bad. It's ridiculous. They did the exact same thing with Abaddon. We never got a clear reason why Abaddon was the way she was. Or what she was even after. They were just like, you know, powerful woman, evil, bad. Great, there's only one woman on the show and she's apparently a monster to be destroyed. Also, to note, with Charlie gone, there are no women on the show that are good guys. Also of note, the scene in the episode where the characters are all sitting around a table discussing, you know, with the map of the world on it, and they're all sitting around discussing basically what to do and the fate of the world and what should be done and how to save it and blah blah blah, and they're basically making the choices that will affect the rest of the world. Did anybody else notice it's a bunch of white men? Like, I'm serious, when the writers are doing this stuff and the producers and the directors and stuff are going through this, did nobody notice it's a bunch of white dudes deciding the fate of the world? This is kind of problematic. Like, and it breaks my brain trying to figure out, how did they not realize that this is a problem. This is a huge, massive problem. This is like literally bad. You know, and again, the prophet of the Lord who offers nothing to anything, doesn't offer anything to the overall storyline, is now no longer apparently important to the season because he's gone. He was there just to basically be the GPS to Amara. You know, why did it have to be a white dude? Why couldn't it have been a woman? You know, why couldn't it have been a black woman or Gina Torres or like an Asian woman or Hispanic woman or a Native American woman or Gina Torres? You know, why did they decide it was best that it should be yet another white dude chosen by God? I'm trying and failing to see where they could have gone, you know, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. We should do that. That's a thing that should be done. I mean, do they not realize? Do they not look and see the fact that, hey, this is weird. This looks nothing like real life. There's only white people. And, oh, wait, only white men. And that, oh, wait, the 2 women on the show are evil. And wanting to be in positions of power so they can destroy everybody else. Thank Chuck. Robert wrote the next episode because, like, reminder, only 2 episodes left. 2. Okay. And so the time they have left to basically flesh out all the things they need to and all the things they need to explain and all the things that need to happen to sum up all the loose ends that they have from the whole earlier part of the seasons, they're running out of time. You know, they could have fixed some of them this episode, but they didn't. You know, they just did their own thing. And it's turning into an absolute clusterfuck. People are mad that Cass wasn't in this episode, but it's kind of like we dodged a bullet. Because I would much rather Cass not be in an episode than have him come back and be written badly or half-assed or seriously no homoed. Like, really, 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 really glad that Buckleming did not get their hands on the Dean Cass reunion. Like, we dodged that bullet. We so dodged that bullet. I'm actually really glad Lucifer and God didn't get into it as far as, like, you know, all the crap they're gonna need, you know, and basically them confronting each other and talking and stuff like that, that Buckleming didn't get to touch it. That basically put them in the room together and then it's like, okay, you need to back off now and we'll take it from here because we're the professionals. I'm fine with that. But you gotta admit that the episode was a waste of time. That it could have been so much better utilized because there are so many other things that need to be done that weren't. And they've only got, now they're down to an even bigger scrap and scramble for time and to get things finished before the season ends. So that Buckleming, with what they didn't do with this episode, literally made the other members of their team are going to have to work that much harder to make up for it. And that's not fair. And with the Dean Cass reunion, they literally are going to have to, like, mind their P's and Q's and do it right, or else they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot. They have all this build up to the fact that Dean has been worried out of his mind. You know, he is drinking ridiculous amounts. He's not sleeping. You know, he is neglecting himself. And just, you know, because all he can worry about is Castiel. Like, Sam, again, is the one that keeps dragging him out on hunts. And about, okay, we gotta go deal with Amara. And, you know, Amara, and he's like, dude, we save Cass first. Like Dean has already stated several times, his first priority is Castiel. Lucifer and Amara come second and third. Like, Amara is literally his third priority of things to deal with. You know, saving Cass comes first. That is the only thing he's worried about. And if they don't do a more detailed scene as far as, like, okay, yes, because there's only 2 episodes left because Buckleming wasted the episode and wasted time. Like I said, they've now made it harder on the other 2 writers for the next 2 episodes as far as what they're able to do within a limited amount of time. Because we literally are down to a strict amount of minutes left that they have to work with as far to fit in everything else they've got to fit in or everything they've planned to fit in. You know, that a Dean Cass reunion is going to be kind of, they got to squeeze that in, because that's one of the loose ends they're going to tie up. Hopefully begin to tie up, because end of season 11 is going to have to tie into season 12. You know, in which case, we already know, introduction of a new character is apparently going to happen at the end of the season. Though it may just be like when they introduced Rowena, at the end of season 9, where like her introduction is literally her sitting in a chair sipping tea, and there's a body apparently like on the ceiling. You know, that was her introduction. So new character getting introduced may be just her getting off a plane that just flew in from London, which is fine. But like I said, they have now limited themselves as far as how much time they have left to do all the things they need to get done. But Dean and Cass is a very big thing that needs to get done, because of how much buildup they've had all season of Cass having no self-esteem and thinking he's worthless and expendable and all these other different things, and all the self-hatred he has, versus the fact that Dean has thought of nothing but Castiel since Castiel said yes. That has been his #1 priority and concern. If they somehow aren't able to go full into detail and have all the things taken care of as far as between Dean and Cass that needs to be taken care of in the season finale, which of course obviously they aren't really going to be able to, because hey, Buckleming shot them in the foot and wasted one of the last 3 episodes. You know, that somehow they're going to have to like delve into it in season 12. You know, but it has to be done. If they don't, it is really going to reflect badly on the whole team. And because like literally they've created a storyline, they've built up to it, and now it's a house with no roof. Because they left this wide, big, open gap thing and just never decided to finish, like the roof. And that's not gonna work. That's a problem. That's a problem, in which case trying to do some hash dash real quick thing is like trying to throw a tarp over it and claiming it a roof. No, you can't throw a tarp over the frames and say you've got a roof on the house. You can't. It's not the same thing. So it's kind of a problem. Continuity errors are a big issue when it comes to Supernatural. Also, where's Billy? Again with, because I don't see her as, one, she's not necessarily a recurring character, she's a guest star. She's been in like 2-3 episodes, and so far she has done nothing but threaten the Winchesters with death in the void and be Crowley's lackey that guards one of the entrances to hell. And somehow the writing creative team don't see a problem with this. All white men. The 3 female characters that have been on been in the show, 2 of which are recurring and 1 of which is a guest star, all of them are bad. Like, I have no words, and I'm very, you know, worried about the fact that, 1, we have the new female character coming. Because given the history of the show, there's a very real chance she's going to be more of the same as far as, oh yeah, by the way, women are evil and out to kill you, so you must destroy them first. That, or either she's there to be objectified, probably by Dean, and have sex with one of the Winchesters, but ultimately serve no purpose other than to, you know, be pretty and objectified and have sex with one of the Winchesters. This, like I said, this episode was not meant to be a rant. I'm literally just pointing out, I think, what an editor should have as far as issues with the episode and why. But I swear to God, episodes like this make me tired. They make me so tired. I'm just... Everything wrong with Hollywood seems to be, or with the show as a whole, also seems to be summed up in the Buckleming episode. Every damn time. And it wears me out, and I'm tired. I love the show, and I'm so excited for the future episodes. But at the same time, like, it's just that you just wore me out. You did. You wore me completely out. I'm tired. And it's just like, oh God, hopefully they get fired. I really, really hope they get fired and don't get asked to come back. Because they're bad. They're terrible. Nobody likes them. You know, they had done better this season. They really did. But this is like their same old, I don't care, half-assed, you know. In which case, Buckleming is not one writer. It's not. All the other writers, pretty much for the most part, except for the other ones who are newbies, that's why they work together as a team. And Nancy Wan, she's new to the show, but she works on her own because she can do good writing. Buckleming is a team. It is 2 writers. So 2 people putting forth their best effort and bouncing ideas off of each other and, you know, trying to push each other further. And this is the best they can do. Do you not see the problem? You know, please, for the love of God, fire them. Hire me. Basically, hire just about anybody from the fandom. Trust me, you'll get much better work. It just, oh God, it tires me out. Because we cross-reference, and you need somebody on the team who's going to literally cross-reference with previous storylines just to make sure that, hey, we may not, you know, always get some of the continuity errors. We may miss some stuff, but at least we won't have quite so many. And especially not so many within 2 episodes of each other. And I'm like, I can't even. I'm just, oh God. The fact that Buckleming keep getting called out on their issues and the mistakes they make and the things they do wrong. And they don't care. And they keep making them. And they think the really offensive things that they've done are hilarious. Hysterical, especially if they basically disrespect a religion. Christianity is something that they have mocked repeatedly, and they think it's hilarious to basically mock somebody's faith or religion or something like that, or their beliefs, and to belittle them. And thinks anybody who basically has an issue with it just needs to like chill. And I'm like, no. I could go on in volume about why no. You were literally mocking somebody else for having beliefs different than you. How is that any different than a hate crime? Whether it be a religion or their sexuality, you are openly mocking and belittling somebody else for the way they live their life because you don't agree with it. How is that okay? How do you ever in any world or reality tell yourself it's okay? No, please, I'll wait. Go ahead. Take your time. It's not. And there's nothing you can ever do to say that it is okay. So yeah, I'm going to end that there. Because, like I said, Buckleming just makes me angry. They really do. And their episodes just make me tired. Because it's the exact same damn mistakes. And when you work with somebody who keeps making the same mistakes, they eventually get fired. They get warned, they get reprimanded, they get suspended, then they get fired. Buckleming basically apparently gets to get away with whatever the fuck they want. Despite the fact that they're terrible at their job. You know, I'm tired. I'm gonna quit for this video. We'll be back next week. Looking forward to it, like I said. Looks promising. We apparently have heaven, earth, and hell joining forces. And God is prompting them to raise an army together. Which, wow, sounds familiar. Oh wait, I wrote that fic. It's called Defining All Expectation. Right there. So yeah. Now, I also had some people question me about the fact that, like, you know, actually offering writing tips and stuff like that, and for other writers as far as fics, and basically helping new writers or offering advice to older writers, or just basically anything that anybody might find helpful. If y'all would like me to, by all means, I will be happy to share what I've studied and learned. You know, there's a lot I haven't studied and learned, and I've still got a stack of books I plan to read and study. Perfection of one's craft is never ending. You never stop learning. You never stop studying. You never stop changing and having to change the way you do what you already know how to do as basically trends change, or you change as a person, or what the media or what your audiences want. So it never stops. So I'm always happy to, you know, share whatever it is that I can that might basically help somebody else as well. So I will see y'all next week. Feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought. And I will see y'all later. Bye!